With less than 20 days until the 2023 NFL Draft, the anticipation is high. The Champions Round crew will play GM and provide you with a glimpse of what you might see in the first 10 picks of the draft. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Draft Brothers podcast for all things 2023 NFL Draft. In this episode, we are going to complete a 10-pick mock draft of the first 10 picks. And we are going to play GM and make some trades and see what happens here as what we think might happen in the first 10 picks of the 2023 NFL Draft. So whether you're a diehard football fan or you're just a casual draft nut, you won't want to miss this exciting and informative discussion as we go through these top 10 picks. We've got myself, Jeff Hasley, we've got Dan Turner, and also Jason Gold joining us to do our mock draft. So I'm going to start us off with Carolina. Carolina's on the clock, and I think they're going to take Bryce Young. I'm going to go Bryce Young here, the number one overall pick. I think he's the better quarterback, the more pro-ready, his processing speed, his mechanics. He's a technician on the field. He's consistent. I just think all of that plays in well over what we're talking about in terms of his size and weight. So I think his intangibles win out, and I think Carolina agrees with that. However, I think that they were a split group on this between management and ownership and operational standpoint. I think the team was split, and this was their decision. So, but yeah, Bryce Young, number one overall, Carolina.
Can I go on a rant? Am I allowed to rant here?
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Save space. Okay. So when Carolina traded to number one, CJ Stroud shot up. He was like a minus 350 favorite to be the first overall pick. And it seemed pretty confident in the building. I mean, Underdog had the show with Josh McCown, and he was all over CJ Stroud and seemed like, he's a tall guy, good from the pocket, definitely a Frank Reich type of quarterback. So it kind of made sense. Okay, they traded up for CJ Stroud. Great. What has happened since then? Obviously, the betting markets have shifted significantly. Now, Bryce Young is the slight favorite to go number one. And I'm wondering if there's something a little bit more nefarious going on than just the Carolina Panthers have changed their mind. Is it that they're trying to extract another pick out of the Houston Texans? The Houston Texans are very clear, it seems like, that they want Bryce Young. And if Bryce Young isn't there, they may not be comfortable taking CJ Stroud. They may go for Anthony Richardson. They may go for Will Anderson. They may try to trade out of the pick. I'm just wondering if all of the smoke coming out of Carolina for Bryce Young right now is just an attempt to squeeze an extra mid-round pick out of the Houston Texans. I think that's personally what's going on, and Houston's doing the right thing, saying, you know what? We don't even want a quarterback. We're just going to take Will Anderson or trade down. We don't want to trade up for this. This is a classic chess game stalemate situation right now. Both sides are putting out whatever smoke they need to so that the Carolina can try to take CJ Stroud and eat their cake and get a mid-round pick. And the Houston Texans are trying to hide the fact that they really want Bryce Young. I think that's what's happening here. I think the markets are overreacting. I think CJ Stroud's still going number one. I think Bryce Young will go number two. But Houston should definitely pay up a mid-third round pick, help out Jeff and the Carolina Panthers. Go up to number one and get Bryce Young. Why not? You're the Texans. You got all these picks from the Deshaun Watson trade. You can afford to get rid of a third-round pick if this is the quarterback that you really want. That's my rant. I'm done.
I'm not sure if Carolina would want to do that for a third-round pick, though.
Why not?
If they're sold on CJ Stroud and they know that the Texans are coming up for Bryce Young, what's the issue? Just that there's a 1% chance risk that you lose out on the quarterback that you want? It seems like they're comfortable with both.
Well, I think they could probably squeeze them for more if they really wanted it, more than just a third-round pick. If they really want Bryce Young, then they'll have to pay for him.
Unless they think that the Panthers are just fucking around and they're actually going to take Stroud, they don't have to move. This is the game right now.
Chicken. It's a big chicken game.
It's like draft day, a script for draft day part 2.
Where's Sonny Weaver Jr.? Get your ass in here. I want Scott Fittner to get on the phone and be like, I want David goddamn Putney just because I feel like it.
I like that.
That's good.
That's good. I don't know, man. Yeah, they were big on CJ Stroud, and you could tell at his pro day that they were really into him, and they brought the entire team and their brothers and sisters to the pro day to watch him. And I don't know. I don't know. My preference though, as a Panthers fan, is to get the better quarterback in terms of ability, processing, mechanics, ability to make something out of nothing. You know, that type of it factor that Patrick Mahomes has, right? Who can just make plays out of nothing, escape from a sack. Instead of being sacked, you've got to convert on a 3rd and 9. I see Bryce Young as that. I don't necessarily see CJ Stroud as that, and therefore I would like the better quarterback. There's a reason why he's the number 1 ranked quarterback in this draft class. So shouldn't they take the number 1 quarterback?
Well, it depends on who they think is the number 1 quarterback. Just because Bryce Young may be generally thought of as that, there are tons of people who think that Stroud's number 1 who wouldn't touch Bryce Young because of his size. So you got to think about what's in the building, who you want, which player has the most upside, how you want to build your roster. Like, there's a lot of things that go into this. And I won't let my personal feelings get in the way here of saying Anthony Richardson has the highest upside here, so why not go for him? But you don't trade a number 1 for a guy with that many red flags, potentially. So, I mean, I understand. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But you took Bryce Young, number 1. So, Dan, you're up number 2 with Houston Texans. Who are you taking?
All right. So now that the Panthers took our quarterback at number 1 in this scenario, so with DeMeco Ryans, being a first-year head coach there, and we know how the success he's had, with defenses in San Francisco, I figured, why not and go start building some defense in Houston. We're going to take Will Anderson Jr. as the cornerstone for the Houston Texans defense at number 2. In my opinion, he's the number 1 prospect in this draft. I've loved Will Anderson for a long time. I think he's definitely easily the best edge rusher. He's going to get to the quarterback. They don't really have anything scary on Houston's defense right now, to worry anybody. Jonathan Greenard is solid, but other than that, you basically don't have anything. And if you happen to suck again this year, you have 2 first-round picks next year. Go get Caleb Williams if you really want a quarterback that bad next year. So I with this pick, I'm gonna take Will Anderson. Thank you.
For me, it's tough to plan out, even if you have 2 first-round picks next year. There's no guarantee that you're going to be able to trade up for a guy like Caleb Williams or even Drake May. So playing that game's a little dicey. If you love one of the quarterbacks, in my mind, you have to take them. Now, Nick Caserio might not like either of the quarterbacks or even Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. And in that case, sure, take the best defensive guy on the board, whether you think it's Will Anderson or Jalen Carter or someone else. But do you stay at number 2 to do that, or are you trying to get the hell out of Dodge and acquire some more picks here? Because there are definitely other teams who want to come up and get a quarterback who may not want to wait to see who trades to number 3. Why not just go up to number 2 if it's on the table?
Right. And my thinking with that was, if we trade out, say we trade up to like 4 with Indy and something, then we have to worry about with Arizona taking Anderson at 3. So I think just keep it safe here, take the guy that we want to take, and then don't worry about the extra picks, because there's much more risk for the guy that we really want not being there if we trade back further than a pick or 2.
Fair enough. It totally makes sense. All right, so I'm up number 3 with Arizona. I'm Monty Ossenfort. This pick is on the table. I will trade it to anybody. I do not care. Bidding war, whoever gives me the best collection of draft picks and maybe a player. By the time I get on the clock, I'm accepting the deal. I got 15 minutes to negotiate this. I might take it all the way down to the last 30 seconds. But if you guys have any offers out there, let me know. I'm wide open.
All right. So who would I be picking?
How about the Raiders? How about the Raiders send their first this year, their second this year,
in a first
and Hunter Renfrow to the Cardinals for the 3rd pick, 2024 second round pick, and DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, you tempted me a little bit with the Hopkins thing there, but there's Cliff Kingsbury is no longer my coach. I don't need small white slot receivers anymore. So that's out. I don't want to deal with that anymore. DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams on the same team, though.
Yeah, that's two alphas, isn't it?
That's pretty spicy. I don't hate the idea of Oakland trading up. Let's say first and second and your first next year.
First and second and your first next year. And let's see, what are they currently at right now? They're
7.
7, yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Why not? Either that or maybe Tennessee has a offer for you.
I have a better offer as Seattle, since I'll be picking at Seattle next.
Ooh.
I'll give you both number 5 and number 20 for number 3 and number 66.
Pass. I'd rather have the first next year.
Okay.
All right, Raiders, move up then.
Raiders are on the clock at number 3.
So are you the Raiders then here?
I guess I'm the Raiders now.
Yeah,
the Raiders.
If I'm the Raiders and I'm trading up and I got number 3 and I got the option, I mean, Bryce Young's on the board. As much as I think that
You mean Stroud?
Stroud's on the board. As much as I think that, you know what? If I'm trading up to number 3, CJ Stroud's on the board. This is the Las Vegas Raiders, baby. You know what the Raiders are doing.
Gambling.
They're in Vegas. You're gambling, baby. There is no one that Al Davis would love more. The guy drafted Jamarcus Russell, and this is like the most possible souped-up version of Jamarcus Russell ever. This runs in the Davis family. They're definitely taking Anthony Richardson if they trade up to number 3. So there we go. Anthony Richardson, 3rd pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. That would be hilarious. I'd love it.
All right. Wow. We have a spicy mock draft happening right now. Okay, so that brings me back to the number 4th pick, which is the Colts. Shane Steichen looking for his quarterback, and CJ Stroud sitting there, and he seems like he's the logical choice. So the Colts are going to luck out and get CJ Stroud with the 4th pick in the draft.
What a steal!
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
All right, so Dan's got the 5th pick, Seattle. What do you think?
It sucks. This pick is up for grabs now because anyone wants to trade up to number 5 to get either Carter or Levis. I'm open. Anyone? Bueller?
No, thank you.
Yeah, not Levis, not necessarily Carter.
All right.
So I think that the clock is ticking. Now you're at minute 14 out of a 15-minute.
There we go. Okay.
Period.
So with no decent trade offers on the table, as much as this guy has more red flags than Moscow in 1946, I'm going to be taking Jalen Carter at number 5 because he is the best defensive line prospect left. He can immediately slot in Seattle's defensive line there and hopefully become a force there for years to come. So I'll be taking Jalen Carter at pick 5 and hope that he doesn't bust out immediately.
You know, Seattle's taken this risk before. They've drafted guys like Bruce Irvin in the first round before. Right. It makes a ton of sense. They've brought him in for 2 different visits. I think that Jalen Carter to Seattle is like, you can circle that, and if you can bet that right now, I think there's a really good chance that happens. And he'd be a great fit there, and they definitely need to shore up their defense. So I like the pick a lot.
Great.
All right, Detroit.
All right,
Jason,
I guess I'm up with Detroit at number 6. I was kind of hoping that Jalen Carter would fall to me at 6. Pairing him with Hutchinson would have been a nice little combo, and definitely a kneecap eater or whatever the hell Dan Campbell wants there. So definitely like that pick if it's there. You know, they just traded away Jeff Okudah. They definitely have a need at cornerback, and you have 2 fantastic ones on the board with Witherspoon and Gonzalez. I happen to think that it just depends on what system that you want. Given what Detroit plays, I think that they'd probably lean towards Witherspoon here. So I'll go there, Devon Witherspoon from Illinois, number 6 to Detroit. But I think it's a 50-50 toss-up between which cornerback they would like. But yeah, we'll go with Witherspoon at 6.
All right, that brings us to Arizona now, since they traded back in the trade with the Raiders. So Arizona is looking at a potential defensive end edge piece. They weren't able to get Carter or Anderson, but Tyree Wilson is still right there for him. So Arizona's going to take a high player, a top 10 type of player, as well as a high position need, and go with Tyree Wilson edge out of Texas Tech.
Solid pick.
It's a good pick there. All right.
Who's up? Atlanta.
So, Atlanta was in the quarterback market, but after trading for Jeff Okudah, I don't think that they will double dip this pick and take Christian Gonzalez would be here at this spot. So I'm going to go a different way. I'm going to go and take someone that will help Desmond Ridder in this offense and go with the number one wide receiver on the board and take Jackson Smith-Njigba at number 8 for this pick. He's obviously, the top talent in the draft. He can get open. He can run every route. The wide receiver depth chart in Atlanta after Drake London is a mess. It's really, really terrible to look at. So I think you can plug him in immediately, pair him with Pitts and London, have the makings of a pretty decent offense there in Atlanta for Ridder to command.
I thought you were going to go with Bijan Robinson. I got to be honest. When you said help out Desmond Ridder, I was like, oh, shit, okay. That would be interesting.
Interesting. Either way, it's still another spicy pick here in this mock draft.
Mm-hmm.
JSN, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts is a pretty nice combo if you want to start off your team and give a young quarterback a chance to succeed. Although I think that Taylor Heineke is going to end up starting more games than Desmond Ridder this season for the Falcons. That being said, it's definitely a nice combo for them if they decide to go that direction. So I'm up. Number 9, Chicago Bears. I think that another team that hopes that Jalen Carter falls a little bit, he'd be perfect to fill that gap there. But we have a young quarterback that we need to see how good he can be. Why not give him a left tackle? Seems pretty obvious. You got 2 options here, but I think you go Paris Johnson. Put that one on the board, lock it up. Just get the guy a tackle. You don't have to think about this one too much. You need to see how good Justin Fields can do. The best way to do that is to give him more time in the pocket and let him do what he does best. So, easy pick for me.
Great pick.
All right. Philadelphia is on the clock. And
I feel like, out of respect, you should give this to Dan. I want to see where Dan goes with this.
I was thinking that I would be interested in trading back here as Philadelphia because you've got a lot of their players that they sort of targeted or were waiting to hope that they would fall haven't fallen. So
I have a trade. Sure.
All right, what's your trade?
Eagles, drop down 1 spot. We'll give you a 5th-round pick. I'm the Tennessee Titans. I'm coming up. I'm making sure no one else gets Will Levis.
That's not bad. I wonder if Philadelphia could get a little bit more than just a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, it depends on who else is coming up for Will Levis. We're past a lot of the teams that need quarterbacks at this point. So you're at Tennessee, maybe needs to come up and trade for one. Maybe a team like Minnesota would be aggressive in trying to find a replacement for Kirk Cousins. There's a couple other teams out there, but the list isn't that big once you get to teams outside of the top 10. So giving a 5th-round pick for Tennessee to move up only 1 spot, the Eagles still get everyone that they like still on their board is going to be there. Low risk, and you get another pick. It feels like a very Howie move to me. Yeah, no, it does. And other phones are ringing. However, as Howie Roseman, I don't necessarily like them. So it's getting close to punch time when I need to call my pick here. And I don't have a better pick, so I'm going to go ahead and make that trade to Tennessee. And we'll take I figure you're going to take Levis, and we're going to be at the exact same situation that we were, and we have a 5th-round pick to show for it. So Tennessee's on the clock. Tennessee selects Will Levis. They run up. They get the replacement for Ryan Tannehill long-term. I think it makes a lot of sense for them. He seems like a Vrabel guy. Anyone who eats a banana with the peel on seems like a Vrabel guy. I don't know why it strikes me right. So, I think it makes a lot of sense for them. They need a new quarterback in the building. Tannehill's not the solution long-term. They're picking 11th. They have some other assets they want to rebuild. Time to restart the clock. Get Will Levis in the building in Tennessee. I'm interested to see. So if the Eagles stuck there at 10, given the way that this mock draft has gone, Dan, what do you think? Because the best player to be on the board, and you guys can kind of use him as a quarterback, is it Christian Gonzalez? Or do you go Bijan?
So here's my thinking, right? So there are a couple of really good talents left on the board. We got Skoronski, who we all know that the Eagles love tackles on both sides of the line. Quinn Johnson, Christian Gonzalez, Kancey, Lucas Van Ness. Those are all great players. The problem with all those players is they all have guys in front of them. Slay and Bradbury are going to be there for at least the next 2 years. So Gonzalez isn't really going to have a chance unless they get injured. And we have a really big hole at running back. So I would take Bijan Robinson. I would have took him in at 10, to be honest, but I'll take him at 11 too. Plug him in there with Jalen Hurts, have him run for 2,000 yards and win us the Super Bowl. We're done. Thank you.
The rest of the league would be absolutely terrified if the Eagles got Bijan Robinson, but it's just such an anti-Howie pick. Howie drafts these guys 2 years before he needs them. He does a great job of replenishing his roster. So the fact that you have Slay and Bradbury doesn't actually concern me that much. It feels like a Howie move even more to be like, we have 2 cornerbacks. Why do we need one? Well, because Gonzalez could be the best cornerback in the draft. He's there. Mm-hmm. And if you need to get rid of Slay next year or Bradbury, whatever, we're ready to go. So I don't know. That would be really tough.
It would be tough, but fuck that. We're taking Bijan. If Miles Sanders can be a 1,200-yard back in this offense, and Miles Sanders can't hold a candle to Bijan Robinson can run for 1,700 yards. Plus, it allows Hurts to run less, which keeps him more healthy, which is the real issue with Philly. We need Hurts to be as healthy as possible if we're going to win the Super Bowl.
The spicy top 10, my friends.
Like it. All right, so thanks so much for watching us with our mock draft and viewing our efforts as we try to make we didn't try to make it, just kind of happened to be a spicy mock draft. Do us a favor, if you like this show, consider subscribing and leave us a comment, literally any comment, because it's going to help out our channel. And let us know what you would have done differently, which trades you liked, if you would have made a different pick. And don't forget, download the Champions Round app and use the $10 bonus code DraftBros. And make sure you check out our other videos on the draft. And that's our draft preview shows as well as our other mock draft videos. So thanks so much. For Dan and Jason, I'm Jeff Hasley. Thanks for joining us.